Hey creators, welcome back to the club. We're your hosts. I'm Ebony Chapman.
And I'm Akila Friend.
And today we are talking beauty. We are talking luxe beauty, okay? We are here with beauty brand mogul, Ezinne Ibroanya. Okay, did I say that right?
Okay. You did.
Okay, good. She is the owner of Skin Muse, a luxury beauty brand that is strongly rooted in African feminism. And so we're going to get into that and what exactly it means. We're so excited. You guys, please give a warm welcome to Ezinne.
I appreciate that. And mogul. I don't think I've ever had anyone call me that, so I'm going to receive.
We're manifesting out here, and to be honest, the building is mogul-like and right on the pathway. So go ahead.
Okay, I was like, that's a new term, and I think I'm okay with that.
Yes, and as you should be. We here at the Black Creators Club, we create moguls, entrepreneurs, successes, all the things.
Okay,
so we claim it all.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. You guys have been so gracious with our scheduling. So I just wanted everyone to know how sweet you guys have been, and I'm excited to be here and just be in a safe space of Black women.
That is the way to put it. And honestly, I think this has been amazing. And I want to just, before we jump into this, talk a little bit about how we met. So we went to a Skin Muse, what would a brand launch? It was a brunch, a Skin Muse brunch in Silver Lake, LA, if you guys know of the area. Super cute. We saw there were rooms upon rooms. So we walked in and saw Skin Muse, the products really facing in a room specifically. Folks were trying it, folks were buying it. And then also it was just really a collection and a celebration of a Black owned business. And we obviously took photos, and that's where we first met Ezinne. I was like, we've got to have her on.
Yeah, she came out with this beautiful orange dress, and Keeks was immediately was like, oh my God, who is that? I looked at the dress, so loved it.
I love it. It was so interesting because I think I was taking pictures and I just look over at you, Akila, and I'm like, she looks so cute and she looks so familiar. And I think we just went over to each other and gave each other hugs. You would have thought we were friends. And I was like, oh yes, of course. I would love to be on the podcast.
I love how that happened, because honestly, I feel I would have wore what you wore. I'm like, yeah, that's so good. So I mean, it's funny how we're all connecting now. That's how it works, It's
so Caribbean vibe. Yes. So 100%. So please let our audience know, we gave a little short mini intro, but we really want to give our audience a good picture of who Ezinne is. So please give us a little bio, a little something. Tell us why you even started this. Why are you so interested in beauty?
Thank you for that. A bio is something I've been working on because I think humility syndrome handicaps me. So this is going to be a good attempt for 2022. Ezinne is an immigrant living in America, first generation. She moved here at 16 to pursue her dreams by herself, which is crazy. And she worked her way up. She is now the owner of a beauty brand called Skin Muse. Skin Muse, as you already know, so is a luxury brand rooted in African feminism, which is really what inspired me to stay in beauty. Back home in Nigeria, I grew up with a mom who owned a beauty salon. So as almost all the girls can imagine, when your mom owns a salon, you're up in there quite often. And as a kid, even as she owned a salon and she was such a busy woman, she was a single mom of 4 children, self-care is something she really imparted in me. It's something that she taught me that I deserve versus something I needed to earn. And she did it through luxurious experiences. So some weekends she'll book us a stay at a 5-star hotel. And some weekends she'll get us we get our little spa kit packed, and we'll go get our nails done and get our hair done. It was just she normalized it. So coming here and then starting Skin Muse, I wanted to impart myself and my almost authentic self as I view beauty as it relates specifically to Black women. So I don't even know if I really answered myself. I brought it back again to something else.
Listen, and don't worry, we're gonna ask the follow-ups. No problem. Okay. That was an amazing intro, and I feel like from that we gleaned so much about why Skin Muse is even packaged the way it is, and why you sell what you do sell on your site and in person. So I think the first thing that I want to just make sure we understand, so you moved here at 16 to America at 16 years old, and your family is still in Nigeria?
Yes. So I was the first, when you say like almost like an anchor child, that's the child that goes first to the unknown. We traveled the world a lot as children, but it's different when you visit a place but when you live there. So I was the first one to start living here. I left at 16. Then after like a couple of years, my other brother, he came after me. Then after that, another brother came, and then the last sister, she's now here. So now all my siblings are here. We're kind of like all over. My sister is in LA with me, but my brothers are spread. And then, but my mom is still back home in Nigeria. She just retired, but she lives at home. Yeah.
That's crazy. And what's so, and I think that humility piece is so key with a lot of not only folks from the African diaspora, but specifically first generation people like me being Caribbean, obviously you being Nigerian, because it's one thing. I want to make sure that folks understand how much strength that really takes for you yourself to be the first one to come here. No matter, like, you may have friends or probably, always someone have that random auntie that's not really your auntie that lives in the States that will help you out. But you moved here pretty much as a child. Like my mom moved here as an adult, but even her being the only one to figure things out was she doesn't really talk about, she thinks, hey, I did this for a better life. It's no big deal. Like, this is what people do. But like, that is a big deal. And you did this at 16. It's a huge deal. And you made the way and you explained it in a way to then bring your siblings over too. So that's incredible.
Yeah. It's totally very much wild. Sometimes I think about it. Hearing you say what you say, I'm like, wow, somebody, one of my cousins or my nephews or someone one day is going to be talking about me like this on a podcast. Like, my aunt, she actually came here and then she brought us all here. And I'm like, yeah, it is a big deal. I received. This is why I like coming on here. Yes.
Yes. I mean, that's honestly, like you said, I mean, 16, it's like, you're still in high school. Like, you're still trying to like figure it out. Like, how do you even like sign up for school or right? Like, what's the school system? What's this? What's that?
Yeah.
Like, it's so insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you did it, girl. So congrats.
You did it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So on your website, on the Skin Muse website, it says strongly rooted in African feminism. And so why is that something that's important for you to highlight as your brand identity?
When we were every year we do like marketing strategies and we kind of do like an audit in the company, right? Where we check ourselves internally and we do a temp check on our customers and like our industry. And we were kind of thinking of the pillars that drive us and what imparts the most in us and why we do certain things that we do. So people know us as a brand for the modern Black woman, and we were thinking, what does that mean, and how do we expansion? How did we get to there? And we thought about how when this is all about empowering the strong woman, but not in a way that makes her feel like she has to be strong all the time, where, oh, you have to be the strongest one, you have to have black girl magic, you have to, be able to carry all the burdens, but in a way that empowers her to celebrate her softness, her gentleness, the things that make her delicate, things that make her feel like a priority, the things that make her glow and her most precious moments. And when you think about that, African feminism celebrates that in every way. It celebrates women allowing themselves to be loved on, women allowing themselves to be safe and adorned on and kind of glorified, And that's what the basis of that's my experience with that feminism, and it's more identified in our community than Western feminism. And in addition to that, when you also think about the other part of African feminism, a lot of African women have gained their independence through the beauty industry, be it through hair, hair salons, be it through skincare, be it through nails, makeup artists. A lot of when you think about the beauty industry where I'm from, the people you see in the executive levels look like me. The people you see making the moves and making the decisions look like me. And, that's what the beauty for us, the beauty in beauty, is that this industry has enabled a gender that has had to fight for equality, but it has solely given us a space and a field to thrive and carve something out for ourselves, solely for ourselves. Yes.
Nice. I think it's so interesting, like something of what you said in terms of like African femininity versus that of more Western cultures, because it's true. I think here, and I'll keep it to Black women, like I think especially here, it's very tough to be soft, you know, like to show that softness, to show that you want to receive certain things without either one being labeled like perhaps a gold digger, or perhaps perhaps, you know, all those things if you want to more be adorned. Or on the flip side, it's like you're not even given that, it's considered a privilege, you know? I think especially this past year is when it really resonated with me to see like, you know, Simone Biles, for instance, or Naomi decide to say, you know what, I need to step away from these tournaments. I need a mental health break. And even the backlash that they were receiving, or, you know, on the flip side too, a lot of these jobs and folks are saying like, Black women, it's okay to quit. It's okay to say enough. You know, and that, you know, that's a form of self-care and beauty too. And then I think like, it's still tough for us as a collective here on the Western side, specifically in America, to be okay with not being okay and being like verbal about that. So
it's kind of like our society and like how we as a community period, like not just Black people, but like overall government high up, like just how we build our society, which is like on capitalism, and that doesn't allow space to take a step back or to take a moment for mental health to be a priority, or for like
reassess.
Or for women to be able to like take a back seat to just like let men do their thing, because at one end, money is power. If you don't have money, like the man can run off with the milk woman, and then there you are, just you know, by yourself. So it's like, you have to be so strong here in like the US. It's like that is how our society is like ran, and that's how it's built. And it's like, if you don't have your own, like you literally have nothing.
It encourages the culture of like individualism, you know, you have to only like go for yourself alone, and they construct it in a way where nothing is ever enough. So for us as Black women to start, you know, like, no, actually we are enough. No, pause, wait, this is not how it's supposed to be. We are enough. It's like very much, you can see how it could threaten the status quo.
Yes. Let's talk about your mom real quick, because I feel like she's been such an inspiration, like directly and indirectly. Like, I love the fact that she took you guys to like the, you know, 5-star hotels occasionally,
and traveling,
you know, like doing that, and obviously owned her salon. So that entrepreneur spirit was there already too. But let's really delve into how she embodies like African beauty, and how does that really, you know, flow into you?
I love that question so much that I think she would love that people ask about her now. I promise you the next brunch, you guys, everyone's gonna meet Mama Isane for sure. She will not be missing it. She is the epitome of my North Star, I would say, with my mom. And when I think about it now, you know, as growing up as kids, you don't realize the sacrifices that your parents are making till you get older and you're like, whoa, you were doing this with 4 children? That is crazy. But she, I remember she was a single mom with all of us. We used to live in a church, actually. And well, my brother and I, before she had my last 2 siblings, we used to live in the back of a church. We couldn't afford a home. And mommy was a strong woman, and she used to sell curtains. So she would cut curtains and she would sew curtains and she would sell them, and that's how we were getting by as we were living for free in church. She went back to school and got her first job as, I think, like a secretary or something in aviation. And sis worked her way up, and as naturally life progressed and things happened, and you know, her success went off, and then she invested in herself, so she got a beauty salon. So her first job was, she applied as a job after college as a secretary, and that was the only application she ever put in. That was the only one she ever put in. Saved her money, opened a beauty salon, and still kept her job at the aviation.
Of course.
So just like every other Black woman, she's running the salon, making money from the salon, but she's still keeping this other job. And we as kids just grew up watching her just do all these insane things, thinking like, wow, like now I know like that was crazy, but then you still like, oh wow, mommy's amazing, mommy has a salon, mommy's doing this. And from her job in the aviation industry, as you can imagine, she became like the communications director for the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authorities. From that job, you know, perks, you get perks, you know, she builds relationships. So she would make sure we had the opportunity. So every summer before, like maybe like in like June or February, she'd get the globe, you spin the globe and you pick where in the world you wanted to visit. And somehow, and she let us pick 2 places. Sometimes we might not get to go to all 2, but 9 out of 10, we're going to both places in the world, anywhere in the continent. And this woman somehow pulled it off with 4 children. I mean, taking us in tow, all of us, when we were horrible to her. Because she worked so hard all through the year. And this one time she would carve out these 2-3 months in the summer and she would spend it all with us because we never see her outside of the other times. She's running a salon. She owns, like, you would never see her, but it didn't matter what was going on in the summer. These 2 months, she would carve it out for her kids. And then when we were here, because we didn't see her those weekend times, she made sure it involved rest, that it also she could imprint into us. She made sure it involved self-care. That was her way. When I think about it now, was probably taking care of herself, you know, from how busy she was, and also teaching us the act of taking care of oneself. I grew up seeing my mom not having to wait till she got burnt out before she scheduled rest. It was a priority. As she's scheduling time for other things, she's scheduling time for rest. It's not something that she thinks, well, maybe if I work till her body. No, she has scheduled time ahead. Even this Christmas, funny, she had told us a month before, this is our first Christmas we didn't spend with each other. She was like, oh, I'm gonna go spend it in a hotel for this many days. So I grew up seeing her doing that. And I think, I know from seeing her doing that when I moved to America and I saw how we were taught to, you know, receive rest or receive even affirmations or, you know, prioritize ourselves. I was like, wait, there's a disconnect somewhere. This way of living life is not really serving me in the long run, but this way that I've been told and I've been taught, I've seen, creates balance for me to, you know, show up as my best self.
Yes, give it up to your mom. I mean, I felt a little tear coming out when you were talking. I just feel like single moms really are superheroes. Like they really do it all. They sacrifice so much and like things that you
would never know.
You would never know.
Right,
and you wouldn't even think about because you're not on your radar as a kid. You're like, okay,
as long as I'm saying.
Right. It's like you're not even thinking about it, but it's like as an adult, oh my gosh, like wow, this is actually insane. Because right now it's like you can't even find 2 minutes or an hour to like even take a nap. So let alone like running 2 businesses and like still having 4 children. Okay. So I'm like, I can't even.
Yes.
I can't
Wild. Wild.
Not letting her circumstance. She said, this is how I'm starting, but this is now how I'm ending. So like, that's it. And I feel like that's a lesson in and of itself. Like life is never over.
Right. And
yes.
Once you put your mind to something, you have no idea how much strength you really have. And you're like, all right, well, I literally have no choice. Like we have to make this happen. So
we're gonna make it happen with or without whomever, whenever. We're gonna figure it out. That's her. That literally, we're gonna make it happen regardless.
I love that. I'm just curious, like from those trips, what was your favorite vacation or favorite place that you traveled with your family?
Man, that's a good question because honestly, until now, I don't think I've ever like given that a thought like that. But I will say, there was one time it was just the girls, me, my sister, and my mom, and I think that was like the first time in a long time that it had just been all of it, just us, you know. And I just remember just seeing her she was just so. It almost felt like a sleepover, that trip. Like it was like a week-long sleepover. The boys had gone somewhere, but it was just like every fun thing that we could possibly imagine, we did. And I think because before, even though she was taking us as trips, as you can imagine, she had to be budget conscious, you know, what to do, activities. But during that 1 week, we could do whatever it is that we wanted to do. This was actually, we were in London. We were actually staying in this beautiful 2-bedroom in London, and we just had a grand time. So we didn't do anything like visit anywhere exotic, or we've been to places like she's, you know, helped us see a lot of places in the world, but just being with her and hanging out with her in that space, just us, was a really good time. Yeah.
Love that. Love
Right.
that.
No, that's so, and honestly, it is different in the US and like other places is how they prioritize time and work. And
yes,
here we like work to live, but there they like, or whatever the saying is, I think it's like here
yes,
we live to work and there they like
yes,
live or whatever.
yes, yes.
Whatever it is.
So reverse.
Good. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Just how like they just prioritize, like when I went to study abroad, like they only did school 4 days. That's it. Like that's their normal routine. And I was genius.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yes.
was saying, why do we not adopt that? What is happening?
It's wild. Like the fact that in Nigeria, it's normal to have 2 months off. Here, it's like you work for like a year and a half and you only get 2 weeks off. It's wild.
And they don't accrue. They don't roll over.
It's absolutely wild. Yeah.
They don't care about us. That's why they said as long as the money's rolling in, that's all that matters. I want to dive into just like your skincare brand now that we have a little bit more of like backstory and background as to like why you started it, your inspiration. What you saw that you needed better skincare for Black women. So I guess like what was the need that you saw that you were like, you know what, like I'm not finding it. I need to make it.
I love this question because first of all, you guys are doing a good job actually like getting information out of me because I realize this is a good, you're like, no, we're gonna extract all the information. So when I moved to America at 16, I kind of gravitated towards what was familiar towards me, which was beauty. Came from that space into this space. And my point of entry to the country was Oklahoma. So as you can imagine, you see so many of you come to Oklahoma, and my degree was supposed to be in petroleum engineering. So the school at that time was like the 3rd best university. So I come here and I'm like, like, whoa, it's not the America I was visiting. And it's just a culture shock. And you can't even find, for the longest time, I couldn't find anyone to braid my hair. The beauty, it was just not the same relationship. I was experiencing skin issues. I used to have really bad psoriasis. And I remember my grandmother would have to ship me my shea butter mixture to help with my psoriasis as well. And then I just remember feeling like unfulfilled. You know, when you're used to something and you just feel like this is not the way that things should proceed. So then I thought, I could change it. I have to go into the beauty industry. So when I got my work permit from the government, I drove my little butt to Dillard's to hoping like, I hope they let me work in the beauty department because I don't know how to fold no clothes now, but I need to be, let us know that I'm the one to change the way Oklahoma relates to Black women. So I go up in there and I know.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Big dreams. big girl dreams. So I go up in there with my, I put my application in and I tell them what I want. And they're like, you know what? You're hired. You're hired as the perfume girl in the perfume department. Now, big dreams, but I was still excited. I was like, you know what? I'm in the entry level. I loved it. You start working there and you realize like, oh, whoa, this is bigger. This is a bigger issue than I realized. But I was blessed by a Black woman. There was another Black woman who used to work for Lancome at the counter, and she recognized my love for this, my passion for this. And she was like, hey, you want to come? We can hire you at Lancome and we'll pay you more money. I came on. So and she was the only counter that had 3 Black girls. Every other counter didn't even have any Black girl, but that counter had 3 Black women. That was a big deal. That was a big deal in Oklahoma, at a beauty department store. And she ran that counter well. We were like the best counter. So naturally, being the best counter in the region, that brought some highlight to us. I got approached by Lancome to become a national freelancer for them, which means I would travel the country, just doing events, doing influencer stuff. Basically, we were like the influencer team, and we would just kind of we would do from red carpets to Grammys to commercials to events for the top clients. So that was my job, and I was in college at this point. I was doing that while I was in college. Graduated, they were like, hey, we would love to keep you on. How can we keep you on? And I was like, okay, we found a contract that worked for me. And I also said, one thing I noticed every time I go to the beauty counters, there's usually only one girl for the Black women. Why is that? We need to figure out. So I now became the person that would travel to each counter in that region to teach them how to do skincare and makeup for Black women. They allowed me, I would say, they allowed me thrive, and I did it well. I loved it. My goal was to ensure that if the one girl that could only talk to the Black woman wasn't there, she would still have a luxurious experience. Then one of the people at Dior poached me. They were like, hey, we see what you're doing over there. We love that. Would you like to come on board? We'll pay you more. I went with a better paycheck. Always go with a better paycheck.
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of
always,
from what you're saying.
I love them. I love my Lancome family, but always go with a better paycheck, y'all. And that was when I was like, okay, I think my time at Lancome is done. I moved on to Dior. I became a business manager with them and a liaison between them and Nordstrom Beauty. So I'll go to the counters, kind of the same thing. Loved it. And then while I was at Dior, the kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for me, I used to travel a lot. So I was trying to go through TSA at one point, right? And I'm flying for a job at Dior. And I have my tub of body butter that I still mixed in my kitchen, even though I've been working in luxury beauty now for like over a decade. I'm still whipping this stuff for my body care in my kitchen. So I have my tub and I have this anxiety of like, oh, I hope they don't throw this body butter away. I don't know, the TSA agent, you don't know who you're going to meet. I'm just like, Lord, I just need to get through this flight. And I have this anxiety. That's like, we familiarize anxiety, but it's not normal for you to have anxiety about body butter. And I'm going through, and lo and behold, he throws it away. As you can imagine, I'm annoyed. This was right before the pandemic. It was funny, pre-pandemic. And I'm on the plane and I'm thinking how unfortunate it is that I'm about to fly into to teach at a Dior, at a luxury boutique. And I will not have the body butter that I know my skin prefers. I'm about to also be staying at a 5-star French hotel. And I will not have any skincare products that I can put on my skin. And I'm thinking like, that's crazy. That this inconvenience, I've normalized it in an industry that really imparts on your self-esteem as a human being. I've normalized this inconvenience that I should be inconvenienced like this. I've normalized that even though I've worked in this space for over a decade, I don't deserve to have these things in these spaces. And when you think about it like that, you're like, oh no, something has to change. And in that moment, I was like, women, we deserve to walk into a Waldorf or Bloomingdale's or wherever we're going, or at the farmer's market at Crenshaw, and get all the beauty products that we want, especially when Black women spend twice as much as everybody else. We are the trendsetters. We are the gatekeepers. We're everything has inspiration from our community. And that's just the honest truth. So if people can understand the need for having K-beauty in the beauty industry, then we can also understand the need for having our lane that we are accepted and adored and, highlighted in the beauty industry. So that trip basically was like, oh, you have to do it. You have to do it. And you have to do it in a way that is deserving of, your community. And that's how we started. That's like my quick background of skincare and how that started Skin Muse.
Honestly, rounds of applause for that, because honestly, what you're saying not only applies to you, obviously, as a founder, but as consumers, because when you were even talking about the very beginning with you going to the boutiques and going to, the shelves of these very luxury items, Lancome is not cheap, Dior is not cheap. A lot of these items that us as Black women do gravitate towards for certain pick and choose of the lot. At least for me, when I go into some of these stores, whether they be wholesale retailers or the individual stores, my first thought is like, oh my gosh, who's going to know what exactly I want? what do I need and how it applies to my skin. Like before everyone had, before the real height of YouTube influencers and the like, I was going into these stores blind, and I knew if I didn't get this one person, or if I didn't get this other person, I'm going to end up with a shade that has nothing to do with me, with a, product that has nothing to do with me, and then be out of money and patience. And then even forward to now, where I think, personally, all of our experiences with beauty could be different, but I know I know if I don't do the personal research beforehand to know how this tests, reading reviews, seeing, the folks who look like me, dark skin like me, who are applying these certain beauty regimens and whatever, I know I wouldn't buy that product. And so just to know that from a product perspective, that you have this as one of your major visions and something that's in your founder's story makes all the difference. This is why Fenty Beauty is where it's at, because they thought about diversity from the very beginning versus a lot of these other brands that are like, let's add it on to the end.
I think that it's so true. Like my skin tone is a mixture. So it's like kind of yellow, but has red tones. And it's very difficult to match, on top of the fact that I have freckles. So like if you go too light of a shade, then it's like my freckles look gray. And if you go too dark of a shade, then it's like you can't see it and it doesn't match my neck. So it's like I have the most complicated search of trying to find the right skin tone and foundation for my skin tone ever. And then on top of that, like to think about lotions and things like that, like sunscreen, for example, like you get something. Listen, I was going to the beach, and I told my friend, he was going in there to like get some stuff. I think he was at like Whole Foods or whatever expensive grocery store, and I was like, just get sunscreen that sprays, like it'll be fine. So we get sunscreen, and I'm like, okay, great, and I'm spraying it or putting it on or whatever, and it's like it's not it's white residue. I'm what the heck? Like it's sunscreen. Like why is this so complicated? Like why is this
you're about to be prepped for a funeral arrangement?
Exactly. I used to think I was allergic to sunscreen because of that. The same thing happened to me, and it was, of course, this is the first experience with sunscreen. I was on an all-white trip. We were, it was studying abroad. So literally, that sub story, that was me at TSA. Like, oh my God, it doesn't come. I can't ask a friend because none of you look like me. So literally, and borrowed sunscreen from my roommate. And when I tell you whites, I raised bumps after a while. I was like, wow, like I must be allergic to sunscreen. I'm telling you, I went years without using sunscreen because I can't use it. And up to finally figuring out, like, no, the problem wasn't that. It was just, again, not having the right product.
Yes.
That worked with me.
Being the afterthought for so long, you don't even know when you start to normalize and stuff, like, no way, I should be using sunscreen. Like, no, my skin will be damaged if I don't. Like, you just start to normalize these things. Like, oh, wait, I should have my foundation shade regardless. Like, I'm not paying small money to these companies. Like, yeah, you guys should, like, you should have my bag too.
Without me having to whip it up in the kitchen, like mix this potion with this and get the right
bro.
So
I remember the initial makeup era when the YouTubers first came out, and the girls were mixing shades like to just get their foundation, and we were normalizing it to like the likes of Jackie Aino and co were like, pause, we should not still be doing this. This is crazy. Like get your foundation shades correct. So a lot of times, it's like, it's unfortunate, but a lot of us have had to really like advocate for ourselves in these industries, especially the beauty industry, because I feel like beauty for Black women it's like culture. It's a pillar in our culture. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about your ingredients, because clearly, from the very beginning, you knew what to put in and you knew what to mix for yourself before Skin Muse. And so now moving into having an official company that really represents the beauty that you want out there in the world. Like, let's talk about controlling it from a small business perspective. Where do you source your ingredients? Like, how do you decide what gets put into what? And how do you really spend money on when it comes to making sure that the ingredients really make sense to you?
So for it was very important, like when we started this, to make sure that we weren't just packaging something pretty, but like something that really made a difference in ways that it was going to do what it was going to do. So like when we walk through like the formulation process, we usually we do a lot of research. Like, for example, with the Buddy Butter, we had sampled out like 100 participants first for our first formula. Then we take back their feedback, and a lot of the things Black women were saying was that they don't like when they put their body butter on and they feel like a grease ball. They don't want to. They want to do a slip and slide. They don't want to have to wait for 10 minutes, like arms out, just waiting for it to absorb before they go on their jolly way. They don't want that. And it was like a common thing, you know. And then smell. A lot of people, even though they like the benefits of shea butter, is that true?
I know she's about to say it.
I'm obsessed. I'm
Then she put it to you.
This is her. Me, I was point A. If I gotta like take a shower after the shower routine, if I'm standing there still for 30 minutes waiting for something to absorb, no, the smell is not right.
If the smell is not right, I do not want it. Like it could be the best product on the planet, and if it smells nasty, I don't want to use it.
I don't want that. And a lot of women, Black women, were saying that I don't like that smell. Like I like the benefits of the shea butter, trend, but I'm not with the smell. I don't want to smell like that all the time. I like things that smell, give me options, give me variety. So we heard that even from the men as well. They were also saying, like our mentha was inspired by a man. He was like, I want things that like soothe my muscles every time I work out so much, I get tense all the time. And my partner too, he was always having like issues with his joints. And we're like, actually, we can figure out a way to get you something that also soothes and like relaxes your muscles in your body care routine. So I said, I'd say we took a lot of feedback. We take feedback. We don't want, so I was like, all right, let's go back to the kitchen. Went back to the drawing board and we revised the formula. And then we came out with what we have now. Even though it's ultra hydrating, it absorbs really well into the skin and it seals at the top. Now, where we source these ingredients from is another thing that was very key for us, even in our entire product line. Some people can know that we actually try to maintain like an 80% small business vendor list. So that means that as hard as it is, we predominantly will preferably source from a small business owner before we go to like a larger conglomerate like an Amazon or something. We want to go to the moms and the pops first, or the businesses that people have overlooked in the CPG funnel. So that's where we go first. For instance, our shea butter, we have two main suppliers. We have a supplier in Nigeria. Her name is Moira. And Moira was the one who sent us our first package of shea. And as of this year, Moira has a factory now. So just as we're growing, we are watching Moira as well go from, a small shop in the village that was, harvesting shea butter to having a full-blown factory in Lagos City, which is one of the biggest cities on the continent. So you see that. And she's also seen us go from, oh, this is an idea to having a company that's featured on Vogue. Like, it's crazy. So that's how we source. We predominantly do that. We also, when it comes to the formulation and the construction of it, we think that even though we're luxury, something that you see in the luxury industry is a lot of waste, which is the norm. You don't really hear sustainability and eco-friendliness in the same words as luxury. But to be authentic to our community, we recycle a lot. We don't waste. You look underneath the sink of the average Black home, and there are bags being reused. There are containers in the freezer being reused. Okay. If there is a container to be used, we are going to figure out a way to reuse. Waste is just not in our culture. And we wanted to really stay true to that. So with the ingredient makeup of it, we use only the essentials. And most of our products don't have more than 5 ingredients. We're like, okay, this is all we need. Even down to, this is what this needs to be perfect. We don't need to add anything extra. This is what we need. In our packaging, we encourage refilling. For instance, you get the velvet bag versus like a box that you throw away. The velvet bag is to encourage you to continue reusing it or regifting it. So that's kind of like how we go through it. And we also make sure we do this thing where we have a metric. Our average customer, how is she going to experience this? How are they going to enjoy this? And the 16 ounce, for instance, comes with a golden spoon because nobody wants to dip their nails and get that stuff. get stuff. Or even the cuticle oils have only 3 ingredients because we tested it in a Black-owned beauty bar. And a lot of the women kept saying, I love this stuff, especially the nurses, but I want something that doesn't have chemicals because I don't like that smell. I don't want that smell. I don't want that smell. Or I don't want to get that reaction. And that's how we revised it. We're like, someone actually said, how can we infuse shea butter in here? And I was like, oh, I got you, sis. Hold my beer. And now that cuticle oil is ranked top 10 by LUSA. So I guess the answer is we really just listen to our community. We don't really do anything. Just we try to have factual research and data and actually get feedback before we launch any product. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's great. I love the idea of the refill vibe. The fact that you can send it back in the mail and then you get it back the same bottle and it's being reused. And because I mean, like you said, my mom has everything. We reuse everything. If I get peaches from Trader Joe's, we are saving the jar. If we get takeout, she saves the little plastic containers, which sometimes do come in handy when it does.
Making the to-go boxes. What they use. The to-go boxes, they come in good use. And our refill policy, we're actually you don't ship it back. We have a text line. So you text the line and somebody comes to your house.
It's next level. That is next level.
Somebody comes to your house. Yes. But we have been revising because our babes that are not in LA, they're like, this is crazy. We want to participate too. So we've been testing on a small market. We have a small customers that have asked for it. So we figure out okay, then send in 5 jars. So it makes it worthwhile. So by the time you send in 5 jars, then you get a free jar versus a discounted refill. So yeah, that's how we do it.
Nice. And that's kind of reminiscent of again, with the beauty industry. I remember MAC, I used to save my products because, I think if you save 5 or 6, you get a free lipstick when you,
exactly.
Yep. Yeah, they probably still have that.
I got one. Listen, I got one.
Yes. I mean, you're saying all the right things. I do want to also highlight, you kind of touch on it a bit too, Vogue, LUSA. I know you were part of Grid 110 program, also Glossier, their program as well. You've been notarized. This is not, I mean, granted, everyone has their different journey when it comes to creating their businesses, but I want people to recognize, ain't no little thing. No little thing, okay? So let's, put some respect on the name. I want to, if you can just talk about how, as a collective, some of those experiences, probably ones that I haven't named, has really influenced the brand, really helped change, your business, and really, how did it help?
I gotta do a shout out to our CCO, because the thing about beauty is it's one thing to get the formulation right. It's another thing to get the packaging and the visuals right. And I always say he brings out the voice, the it's almost like the Kanye of the brand. He brings out the visuals of the brand. I don't know if that's a good example. Oh my Lord.
That's a great example.
He loves Kanye.
My Gemini brethren.
I was I don't know. Okay. I was like, can we still use this? But it's one thing to get the formulation, but it's another thing to make it look and represent us in the way that we need to represent it. So I owe all this notoriety to the fact that we've shown up in our best way, right out the gate, right out the jump. The amber jars, the gold bottles, the gold vessels, we've shown up in our best way. And because we've shown up in our best way, even as a business that's not funded, it has then given us notoriety. So our first big feature was at the Black Parade route when Beyonce released the first one. And I remember sitting down we were 6 months old, by the way. So what? You're a 6-month-old business. You're growing in a pandemic. You're thinking oh God, just just come through. Whatever happens. We had just come off our Grid 110 incubator. So we're just kind of strategizing, we're preparing, and the Beyonce thing happens. And it's we made so much money in 2 days than we had made in our entire 6 months. I didn't even know that we could handle that type of capacity of orders. And we did it on time and efficiently because we were sourcing from small business owners. So they believed in us. They were like, oh, Beyonce called us to the bar. We showing up. So from there, we actually got exposure in L by a Black woman. They tried our cuticle oil, loved it. Then they gave us the rating. And by a couple months later, a Black photographer was in their September issue, 2020 September issue, a Black photographer was shooting in a Black woman's home 2 Black models. Someone on set had used skin muse on their skin naturally because it was so impressed. They were so impressed on how their skin was looking. They had to put our feature us in the issue. And these are things that people usually pay for, that we're getting free press. And then from there, we got featured in Cosmo. And so this is like our first year, and we're just like wild. I'm thinking like, wow, that's crazy. Earlier this year, I looked at how much it would cost to be in Vogue, and I was like, well, we ain't there yet. That's crazy. Like, we can't do that. I was like, God, you gonna do this somehow or some way. And last quarter, we ended the year, Issa had tried our stuff. Issa, whenever you listen to this podcast, child, I just want to take shout out to you. God bless you. Girl, anything you need, you don't need to order. Just send us a little DM. But Issa had spoken about us in an interview with People magazine right in time for the Amex. We had a partnership with Amex and the Buy Black Bazaar. So that blew up. And then she did another piece in Vogue about things to buy. And she said that you should buy the body oil for the mom who returns everything because she will not return this. So naturally that gave us exposure. Then from there, then we, the Glossier grant came in last year too. That's something that has been like a dream come true. It comes with like money, but the resources, the Glossier team, I tell you, like, they're one company that is really invest. When they said they pulled up to the challenge, they have consistently pulled up. Like it's from top to bottom, amazing, 5 stars. And then we've gotten so much Essence. We also closed out the year with the feature in Essence and Blavity as the not Blavity, 2190 as well. So as you can, and Refinery 29 too. I'm like, come on. I'm like, this.
Yes.
So I can't stop. I'm like, wow, we've been in Refinery. We did a little piece with Refinery 29, and then we also were featured on ABC and MSNBC over the holidays. So I say that to say, it's been a wild ride, but I really contributed not just to our CCO as well, but just like we're a very small team, very, very, very small team. And to be such a young business and to hold space in these type of spaces, it's really because my team, they see this as this is their dream too. Like, this is not just about me. And I always have to give them a shout out because it's people you can't really go far by yourself. And that's just the truth. You got to have people that believe in you. So even though we're just 4 with a community of volunteers and a community of people that believe in us, they each carry the weight so evenly that it allows all of us to show up in these spaces efficiently. Yeah.
I think you said it. I mean, at the end of the day, you do need a team.
Yes.
You need people that believe in what you have going on just as much as you believe, if not more, sometimes to kind of give you that extra push, come with ideas, give you space and time to kind of focus on other aspects of the business and that type of thing. So, I mean, shout out to you, shout out to your team.
Yes. The progress, the growth, everything. It's so amazing and organic. So it's really a testament too. If it's truly your passion and truly something, because I mean, you can talk about it from when you were a child in some cases. But this is truly something that's ingrained in you and it's a part of you. So when it's time to just put it in motion, which of course, when you started Skin Muse, it was obviously God's timing and your timing, the snowball effect is so obvious, so you didn't have to express it, it wasn't
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
So
No.
Finish it.
I was like, and even though it's an uncomfortable journey, I think of it like repotting a plant. You kind of have to get comfortable in the new placement. So it comes with a lot of tears, high highs, and low lows. But even during those low lows, when you remember why you're doing it, and our why is really to highlight and just the beauty of our community, that's really, we're selling beauty products, but we're also selling the experience of like, even at the brunch, every brand that partnered with us was Black owned, every single one. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Everyone, and they showed up flawlessly. We had about like 10 plus vendors. And I think almost, except for maybe one, almost all of them were Black owned. Yeah. So when you think about that, it just, those are the feelings that keep you going. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
I mean,
Mhm.
listen, we're all here for the partnerships and everything Black owned. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. You've been in the beauty industry for a really long time, from kid to career to now your own business and being an entrepreneur. So I want to kind of have your take on just what the beauty industry looks like as a whole. Like, I think it's changing, but I would love to hear your opinion on it. I think, as you go up and up and up and up, you see CEOs of Estee Lauder or, Clinique or whatever, you're going to see the white old man, just like you're going to see in like the hip hop radio station, you're going to see the white old man that probably doesn't even
they're
like
everywhere.
Doesn't even
Like
know
they're everywhere.
and is like, yeah, I own this, I'm running this, hip hop thing. Or white old males, what do you guys know about diversity and like inclusion and beauty and face products and eyebrows? Like, what do you know about this? But here you are running this whole business.
And even if they do know, it's sometimes like part of that is like stepping to the side to make someone who really embodies that.
Right.
So
Yes.
that's kind of the
Yes.
question. Like, where do you see it changing? Have you seen it change over the years? Do you feel like you are elevating that space to make sure that like we are a Black owned business through and through? It's not like we're selling this to some white man. Or how do you feel about it? Maybe you are. That's where the money is. I don't know.
Funny enough, our goal, one of our goals is to create a luxury conglomerate, like an LVMH, that our luxury brands don't have to always sell to LVMH, where there's another house for global conglomerate for you to be absorbed by. But I don't know if you're gonna like my answer to this question. When for so long you've been trying to get a seat at the table, and finally you just like go build your own table, and you just start sitting around your own people, and then you just suddenly forget what that table is doing. I think that is the space that I'm in. and I say that to say, I've working in that industry for such a long time. Obviously, there have been beautiful things that have been imprinted on me. I think my love for formulation really came from my time at Dior, because I just loved, why is this in here? I loved having those answered questions about particular ingredients. However, even though I was blessed by that, the experience has always not served me like fully. I've never always felt like, wow, when this product line was constructed, I was also in the room, like I was also being thought about before it hit the shelves, consistently. Obviously, you have those one-offs that they make a big deal about, but what we're asking is like, don't make it a big deal. Like, when you're formulating it, think about us. Or even when it comes to representation and beauty in the commercials and the people that you're seeing that are, being advertised. Back then, as a girl coming from a place like Nigeria, that her mom was just the one, that you come in here and you see this like considerable vast difference. You're just like, whoa, there's a disconnect. So I would say there's always been a disconnect. Back a couple of years ago, way more than we would all like to admit. Black women have had to kind of speak up for themselves and advocate for themselves for things to be done. We are now at the point where, and this is from my experience for anybody listening, we are now at the point where we are no longer choosing, if you want to get it right, but if you don't want to get it right, we're going to figure it out. So the progress is happening, but I only see the progress from us. I only see the progress when we have to like, push hard and, fight back for it. I don't see the progress being initiated and like from the beginning to the end. I only see it when it's like a DEI tension is going on. You're trying to like make a diversity quota or something, or you're trying to start a new initiative. I haven't seen that yet. I only see that with us. I only see that from beauty brands like Ami Collet, or, you know, beauty brands like Range Beauty, I like Oma Beauty. Like I'm only seeing that from us. I'm not seeing it as a whole. My hope for the future is that first, there's enough for all of us. My hope is that these bigger brands, not only will they do their due diligence, but they will come and talk to us before they do their due diligence. I hope that Estee Lauder can link up with a company like Range Beauty before they decide to make, you know, another line that they think serves our community. I hope L'Oreal can sit down with people like me whenever they want to do these lines that serve our community. I hope that even in the boardrooms, we start to see more people like us, so that way it doesn't be just like a short-term trend and then next year they forget about it. So that's my hope for the future. Yeah, I'll stop there.
No, I mean, I think no, you're saying all the right things, girl. So we will let you talk all along. But I think it's amazing because it sounds like it's just one, it's reclaiming our own power in a sense, right? In all these industries. Beauty will stick to beauty specifically. It's like, listen, if you're not going to do this, like, shame, it's your problem, because we know the value in getting it right the first time. 100%. We know the value in serving ourselves. So, like,
and that's why we do this. Like, that's why we do the podcast.
Exactly. Let's talk about the podcast.
This is why we do what we do. So, girl, why do we do what we doing? What we making?
Okay, because we're the best and the baddest. We're making it for the trendsetters, the culture seekers. The best way to support us.
Y'all asked me all these questions, but I want to talk about these sweatshirts y'all got. What is this that y'all got on?
We didn't ask her to say this, by the way, y'all, because
I know. I'm like, pause.
Go to the website, www.theblackcreatorsclub.com. We're selling merch. It says, "You're welcome, sincerely, a Black creator."
It is our love note to all our Black creators, because at the end of the day, nobody could do anything with that they do without us, period. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
a little love note to our Black creators.
Yes.
Oh, that is so cute. I love those. How many colors? I know this not supposed to be about this, but I'm just gonna ask, how many colors have you?
It can always be about this.
How
many colors do you guys have?
Quite a few. We've got a dark gray. We've got
the sweatshirts. This sweatshirt only comes in a dark gray. These were kind of like little special limited edition things that we tried.
But we do have the shirt version.
I like that. We're working on it. We're working on it.
But right now we do have black, gray, yellow shirts. You know, we have all the.
No. I'm getting a sweatshirt. I'm like, I should have pulled up into the physical
and we have all the back, girl. We have it. We're doing orders in the background, so like we can get it out to you tomorrow. Not a problem.
Yes, thank you very much.
But yes, guys, of course. And if you guys want one too, like we said, the website is theblackcreatorsclub.com. Also, just follow our page, rate, subscribe, comment. Everything is at the Black Creators Club. It makes a huge difference. And yes, so we're not done with you yet, isn't it? This was amazing, but
thank you.
We're still going to get into skin news a little bit more. And start the game.
Yes. Okay. So we're getting ready to play the game. It's called Find Your Muse. Okay.
Okay, game. Find your. Okay, I like this game. Find your muse. I like this. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna find your muse. Okay, so we're gonna name a few skin problems. You noted that you had psoriasis, so we're gonna name a few skin issues that people might be having, and then you're gonna recommend a product that's on your product line that you think would help this person get it done.
Okay. All right. Not y'all having the FDA out here trying to find me, but it's okay.
All of this is opinion-based. Right. We are not liable for anything at all.
Okay, but this one is an easy one, so this one shouldn't be a problem. The first one is, okay, girl. We got Ashley legs, girl. We can't.
You're looking like Kevin Durant out here with the ankle.
Girl. Ashley legs. Actually, are we talking about the whole leg, or are we talking about the foot, the ankle down, or the leg down? What are we talking about? We gotta be specific.
Let's say both, because honestly, I don't know what I need to use my feet versus
my legs. We've been doing it wrong this whole time. What's happening?
So if we're talking about the ankle down, I would suggest you definitely carry a body balm around. Our body balm was made for the ash. I wanted to actually call it Ash Be Gone, but the team was not having it, specifically our CCO. They were not having it, but it comes in a little roll-on balm. I call it like lip balm, but for your body, and you can just easily massage that onto the heel of your feet, your toes, across, rub it in. It's perfect. Put your socks on and be on your jolly way, or not if you don't want to wear socks. Up to you. From the leg down, I would definitely recommend our Buddy Butter. It hydrates you for straight up over 24 hours. We have unscented as well. So if you don't want any, any fragrance oils in there, you have that as well. And it gives you a nice little glow. Yeah.
Out of my own curiosity, I just kind of want to know what the scents are. Cause like she said, I'm a smeller. My nose is very sensitive. I want to know.
Okay, I got you. So I will run down real quickly because I like to talk too much. Cacao is unscented, but it smells like chocolate. It really smells like chocolate. Madagascar vanilla, as you can imagine, is like a very warm vanilla note. People love that. We have poppy, and poppy is a sweet floral. It's very romantic. It's a romantic scent. We have mentha, which feels like a warm hug after a shower. That's the one that has that peppermint in there. So you get a hint of that. A lot of people love it in Christmas. They love it in Christmas. And then last but not least, our newest baby, Egyptian honey, smells reminiscent of our divine body oil, which is like a very soft, musky notes. It's kind of reminiscent of if Chanel No. 5 was to be infused with honey. That's how I would like to say it. Yeah. You get sweetness in there.
That one and the Madagascar vanilla, I think, would be my choices.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
What about if you have dry elbows? You're trying to get the little pieces, the creases, all the things,
the joints. Child, uncomfortable joints are the worst. I would suggest the body balm and the Buddy Butter, because the body oil, I love it. It seals it in. But someone like me, if you have really, really dry skin, and we know when we talk about dry skin, not just getting ashy, where you're getting the flakes and you're getting bleeding, for instance, happening, I would say slather on that, take that balm. If you want a quick applicator, leave it by your nightstand, in the office, in your bathroom. But in the mornings and the nights, wear the Buddy Butter after the shower. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that leads right into the next skin problem, bleeding, the whole things, eczema.
Yeah, definitely eczema, specifically the cacao Buddy Butter, because it has no fragrances in there. Because some people, especially with eczema, have really sensitive skin. You could either specifically use the cacao Buddy Butter or the body balm, because it's also unscented. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. So what about, I want to be that girl that you said that was on the photo shoot, okay? I want to be so glowy that you gotta put it in the notes. You gotta know. You gotta look like this specifically. So if you want a glowy look, what are we going?
If you want a glowy look, okay. You ready? Now you can pick any of our delectable Buddy Butters. They will do what they need to do. However, now you want to be a glowy. You want to be a glowy girl. You got to seal it with the body oil. After you put the Buddy Butter on, you got to go over with that oil. And I promise you, you will look like God himself came down and kissed your forehead. You will look like God himself came down and kissed your little forehead and said, glow. Glow, honey. Just sent you off on your glowy way.
Everything. You know what's so interesting about what you just said? I never thought of sealing with oil. It's usually one or the other. Like if I'm using body oil, I'm sticking to to the If I'm using the butter, we're sticking to the butter. Doing both. Right. But it's like use both. That really I'm just saying the fact that the body butter really absorbs, because
yes,
the reason I can use both is because I'm gonna be slipping and sliding. Clearly you're not, right?
Yeah. It has you like use it when you're on a resort trip. Like you just want to the body oil gives you a shimmer. Like how sometimes you have to look like lava body oil, it has to shimmer. No, like you put that body oil in, you will literally like gleams. So
so all of a sudden it just looks like I just got dipped, just like and
literally just like okay. And we have a set because we have a set. It's called the duet set. So that set basically will do that's the answer to this. That's the solution to the problem. The duet set it's got you covered. You get the body oil and the body butter at a discounted rate. Yeah.
Every time you see me from here on out, okay. All these things.
Listen, Isn't let me just tell you, I love Keek. She likes to be naked all the time. So let me say, she will be in that duet set.
Talk about self-care on here.
It's glowing and showing.
It's giving. Oh man.
Okay, well, the last one that I had was kind of like, what if someone has a dry face? Like, are we able to use these products on our faces? Or is it
good question. As much as I would like to be that beauty brand that's like, oh, we can fix everything and anything. No. We've had people, I kid you not, we've had people that have like sent us before and after pictures of their faces, telling us like to encourage people to use it. But because we have not been licensed by the FDA to do that yet, I don't like doing that. I really respect skincare industry and other Black owned skincare businesses that have beautiful products for the face. So if they've done their due diligence, we're not about to like not, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So we haven't been approved for anything face, and we haven't actually worked towards that because we want to, do what we do well with the body first before we expand into face. A lot of people use the body butter to like the cacao. If you have to do it, please do it with something unscented, but we encourage everyone. These are all for the body. Please just keep it to the body alone. But hey, to each his own. Sometimes I've used lipstick on my eyelids. So
love that. Listen,
yeah. Do what you want to do, but do what the bottle tells you is for your body.
Yes, this was incredible. Yes. This was so good. Let us know if there's anything else we missed that you probably want to talk about, or anything else, or what's on the horizon. Yeah. Exactly, and definitely let our listeners know how they can follow you and follow Skin Muse.
I think people don't know this about us, but we do a social impact initiative where we actually sponsor therapy sessions for Black children. This year we actually expanded into young people in their young 20s. I think in our community, we talk a lot about the physical, and I think mental health is something that we need to have more resources for, just from our average lives, the trauma that we experience. So that's an initiative. Every month we have a therapy fund, and it's run through a clinic owned by a Black woman. So she does an amazing work for us all the way out in Philly. What else do we do for social impact? We're launching this coming in a couple of months. We're actually going to be launching a scholarship fund for first daughters in their homes. As we know in our community, when you are the first daughter, that is something that you're basically a parent, especially in single parent households. So it's going to be a small scholarship fund that you can send your application into. We have a set of people that don't work for Skin Muse that will be making that decision, just so it can be fair. We have a couple of things coming. We have another product that we're launching, but that will probably launch towards the end of the year. I'm almost afraid to say it, honestly, because I don't want to be like Rihanna when you say something. I was afraid to say it, so I'm just going to say it. We have a product. We're definitely expanding. We have another product coming up. In order to find us, we tell everybody it's SKNMUSE. So Skin Muse without the I. And you can find us everywhere. We're on Pinterest, we are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Our website is sknmuse.com. So same thing with the .com. And if you go on our website, we have a locations tab where you can click on there. And we're in a couple of stores around the country as well, where you can kind of visit us physically too.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ezine, for like coming on.
Thank you.
So honest, being so open about like your mom and telling us kind of your journey and like how you got here. It's so inspiring, and you really are, like we talked about before, just like 1 degree away from just like living your dreams and like letting something happen. And I love that you say that you put God first. You're always like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna happen, but God's gonna figure it out. So it's a great reminder to just like always step in that faith and just continue to live in your purpose and live what you feel like doing your passions. And so we love that. Thank you so much for being here. We've had such an amazing time with you. Please come back anytime. You have a permanent seat at the table.
I mean that, because I gotta do the physical too.
And your new product is out.
Okay. you don't be making promises because we will. I will tell Chaz that y'all said this and he will be asking like,
done and done. We got an extra seat for Chaz too.
Exactly. We're ready for him too.
Yes,
this is so great. So Kate, where can they find you on social?
Yes, you can find me chatting media and life motivation, all with a dash of style at Tequila Friend.
Yes, and you guys can find me on Instagram at EbonyChapman12, talking everything Black-owned business and of course the Black Creators Club. We've had an amazing time here with Izane. Did I say that right? I love it. My name is also Ebony, so it's like, people be saying that all types of things. But so we had a great time, you guys, and remember to always abide by your ABCs.
Always be creating.